judges for today's competition are Junior Wing Vice Principal Ms. Tina Singh. She's not with us at the moment, so she'll be represented by the Vice Principal of the Senior Wing, Ms. Raina Chona. And our second judge is HOD French, Ms. Navneet.
Let us make you familiar with the rules and regulations for the debate. We have 2 students in each team. Each team will present their debate on any one of the given topics. One student from each team will speak in the favor of the topic, while the other will speak against the motion. Each participant will be allowed to speak for 2.5 to 3 minutes. Any participant exceeding the time limit shall be disqualified.
While you are speaking, 2 bells will be rung. The first bell will be rung at 2.5 minutes, indicating that you should wrap up your speech. The second bell will be rung at 3 minutes, indicating that your time has elapsed. If any child exceeds this limit, at the bell rung at 3 minutes, if you are speaking a sentence, you are allowed to finish it, but if you pick up another sentence, you will be disqualified. Each participant will face the rebuttal for 30 seconds. The questions will be put up by other participants and the audience will not be participating in the segment. The students will be assessed on content, confidence, pronunciation and expression. The special prizes will be awarded to the best debate team and the best rebuttal. Along with this, we also have the first, second and third individual prizes for the deserving candidates. The judgment given by the panel of judges will be final and shall stand undisputed.
The topics for the debate are: first, euthanasia, right to live versus right to die. Second, why do Indian students prefer to study abroad? Greener pastures or green card? Third, is it more important to be happy than to be rich?
They say debating is possibly the best means of engaging with the ideas of liberty. Now I would like to invite the lead speaker from Aspen House who will be starting the debate. She will be speaking in favor of the topic, it is more important to be happy than to be rich. Please welcome her with a huge round of applause.
Happy people don't have the best of everything, they make the best of everything. Good afternoon to one and all present here. Today I, a candidate of Aspen House, is going to express my views in the favor of the given topic. It is more important to be happy than to be rich. Studies show that happiness can help you strengthen your quality of relationships with others, improve your motivation and dedication, and can even help in decreasing the chances of suffering from various fatal diseases like cardiac attacks and hypertension. But now, the question which arises here is, doesn't money, unlike happiness, rather deteriorates your health by constantly putting you under the immense pressure of earning more? Many people still believe that money can buy you happiness. But is this statement really true? To all the people who believe that the statement is true, I would like to put up a question for all of them. Can money heal your ruptured relationships or buy your peace of mind? Clearly, money can do neither of them. Money can buy books, but not wisdom, bed, but not sleep, medicine, but not health, amusements, but not happiness. To highlight the fact that happiness is way more important, let's take an example of a common man with a good salary who works at a place from 9 to 5 where he dislikes working at. Due to his disliking for his job, it might be difficult for him to cope up with the daily stress of the job, which might lead to serious health problems just because the person is trapped in a place where he neither feels satisfied nor contented. The clothes, the cars, the shoes that we own can only bring happiness for a little amount of time. But what about the happiness when these items wear out? Money can neither make up for the time we spend with our loved ones on our favorite occasions, nor can it replace our parents' unconditional love for us. in the light of all the facts given, I would like to conclude by saying that happiness is something which is way more important than money and cannot top the importance of money in our lives. Thank you.
We now open the floor for rebuttal. Participants wish.
As just happiness can cure its disease.
Happiness may not be the cure for the disease, but happiness helps in preventing the disease from deteriorating any further.
Thank you. That's all.
Thank you.
Now I would like a very good afternoon to one and all present here. Today I, a candidate from Inhouse, stand before you to strongly oppose the motion that it is more important to be happy than to be rich. As a famous saying by Aristotle, money is a guarantee that we may have in future. Though we need nothing at the moment, it ensures the possibility of satisfying a new desire whenever it arises. So, I strongly support the motion that money is way more important than happiness. First of all, what is the literal meaning of happiness? Happiness means getting the comforts and luxuries you desire for in a happy and a comfortable lifestyle. Here, I would like to put a question. If you don't have money, can you buy these comforts and luxuries? Can you buy these comforts and luxuries with happiness? No, you can't. In fact, never. If you are poor, you yearn for food and nothing else. Money matters more than happiness because if you have money, then your basics are already met. I would like to ask all of you, why are the children sent off to school at such a young age? It is done so that they can get good education and earn a good living. To lead a happy and a comfortable life. Without money, even if family does not support you, money is a pretty sweet deed which can provide you with an exciting lifestyle, glorious things and also happiness. Every year, more than thousands of poor people die just due to malnutrition and starvation. In this case, would happiness alone help them? I would like to ask all of you, won't they need money to at least fulfill their daily needs? I would like to ask a question from my worthy opponents, that if a poor person is suffering from a fatal disease, how will he be cured? Won't he need money or happiness? It is obvious that he needs money to cure his disease. Most people argue that being rich is not as important as being happy. I have a question for all of them. If you are in hunger, can you think of being happy? When you can't protect yourself from cold, can you think of happiness over money? No, you can't. Even middle class people die with their wishes unfulfilled. For instance, many people aspire to go abroad, but they cannot fulfill their wish just due to lack of money. I would like to quote, happiness is not adjustment. Lack of money is an obstacle in the way of those who do not have enough money to fulfill their desires, which clearly states the importance of money over happiness. In the light of all the facts, I will conclude by saying that happiness is a necessity, but it cannot top the necessity of money in our lives. Thank you.
Floor is now open for rebuttal. Ayushi.
Jasnath said that when the person is earning money, he's happy. But when we see big companies droning, then what are your views about that?
Big companies only don't because maybe they use malpractices and corruption. But if they have money, they can at least fulfill their comforts, they can at least fulfill their wishes. So money is more important than happiness because if you have comforts and luxuries, you can only buy them with money, and so this is all about happiness, it's about comforts and luxuries.
Thank you. Now we have a speaker from Inhouse who is going to speak in favor of the motion, euthanasia, right to live versus right to die.
Lying in utter pain, way back when I was sane. Merely, it is euthanasia. Good afternoon.
candidate of Senior House, stand before you all to speak in favor of euthanasia. The end-of-life issue in relation to euthanasia and physician-assisted suicide is the most widely discussed phenomenon. Euthanasia, an act of mercy, which basically means to take a deliberate action with expressed intention of ending a life to relieve intractable, persistent, and unstoppable sufferings. Euthanasia is the developed advancement of a person's death for the benefit of that person. If a terminal patient faces a long, slow, and uncurable disease, then surely it is much kinder to spare them such kind of existence and allow them to end their life comfortably. They should have the right to resist such kind of torturous existence because it's not as if they are really living during this point of time. They are merely waiting to die. However, does that justify that we ought to endure a pointless pain just because it must be a part of life's experience? Also, what's the difference between existence and living? Do people want to live in a state where they can't progress, suffer from paralysis and slowly die? People do want to exist, and merely existing is not enough. If we just had to exist, then why do we need a spectrum of other life experiences? Why don't we just limit ourselves to eat, sleep, etc.? There is more to life than existing in such a state. Our legal system accepts that every person has a legal right to choose when to die. If a person is facing from a terminal disease, then surely its families of individuals who are suffering with such diseases spare the agony of watching their loved ones deteriorate beyond recognition. Thus, it relieves sufferings. However, it may be speculated that it's not a murder because the choice being made is a deliberate one for which one's right in its very own nature permits the condition to be murder. At last, I would like to end up by saying that euthanasia is simply to be able to die with dignity at a moment when life is devoid of it. Thank you.
The participants have 30 seconds for rebuttal. Questions, please. Do we have any questions? There's a time limit. And there's also a prize for the best rebuttal. So keep that in mind while listening to the speeches. We're over the time. Thank you.
Now I would like to call the candidate from the House who will be speaking against this motion.
Life is literally something that we cannot attain on our own will. And as it's the very basis of every right, it is definitely necessary for the government to protect this right. Good afternoon, everyone. In this gold opportunity, I, a candidate of Cedar House, is going to talk about why right to live is important and why euthanasia should never be legalized. First, I will tell you what is right to live. The article number 2 of the Human Rights Act is the act which provides you, which protects your right to live. This means that nobody, including the government, can try to end your life in any way. We all know that government believes that citizens means we are the first priority and the almost value. However, I wanted it as a question that opening the person's right to die and encouraging euthanasia as their last option is really what the government should do for its citizens? I don't think so. Government responsibility in today's debate is not to encourage death and euthanasia, but to tell them that their lives are something that should never be given up. Life is something that we cannot attain on our own will. Nowadays, suicide is a very common issue. Many reports have claimed that assisted suicide and voluntary euthanasia leads to suicide continuation, which is a rejection of importance and value of human life. To have more clarity, let's take an example. All of you here have heard about the Second World War and the Nazis who had a big Holocaust, the most viscous thing human beings have ever made in this human society and human history. Yes, right, the big Holocaust in which the Nazis had killed thousands and thousands of Jews just in the name of euthanasia. The Jews were killed and murdered, though we know that they never wanted to die, they basically wanted to live. The terrible actions committed by the Nazis is generalized and okay in the name of euthanasia. At last, I want to say that I am not neglecting the pain of the patient suffering. However, I believe that the duty of the government is to rescue people from making inadvocate death and telling them, and it is morally right for the government to rescue people from making this an inadvocate death and to not pass this policy of euthanasia, the so-called right to die. Thank you.
Questions, please. Yes, Sandhya.
You stated that euthanasia should not be legalized, but passive euthanasia in India is already legalized on 9th March 2018. So what's your point of view on that?
I am not saying that euthanasia should not be legalized. I am saying that euthanasia is a thing. If it would legalize, and I know that it's legalized, but the legalization of euthanasia is not good because of its legalization, death rates and, as I said, that suicide can also be called as euthanasia. So in my point of view, euthanasia legalization is just as legalization of suicide.
Thank you. Now I would like to call the candidate from Inhouse speaking in favor of the motion, euthanasia, right to live versus right to die.
One should have the right to die proudly when it is no longer possible to live proudly. Good afternoon, everyone. I am speaking in favor of the motion, euthanasia, right to die. Euthanasia in its literal sense means mercy killing. Let me get this very clear that it is nowhere even close to murders. Euthanasia is only done in highly extreme circumstances when a person wants to kill himself or herself because of the horrible and mortifying nature of the disease. Euthanasia is all about helplessness in the face of excruciating amounts of pain that even high doses of morphine fail to relieve. Euthanasia is helplessness in the face of death. Under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution, it is a choice, rather a right of a person to live with dignity. So, I don't understand the fact that why a person should be denied the right to die with the same dignity. After all, it's their own life, own choice, own body, whatever they do. Keeping a person forcibly alive with the help of a life support system is not only brutal and inhumane, but it is also very expensive. According to reports, health resources are wasted on terminally ill people in disproportionate amounts. Don't you think all these resources can productively be used on other people, like other patients and other socially desirable ends like education and housing? On the contrary, a huge benefit of euthanizing brain-dead people is that you get a large number of usable organs that can be used to save thousands of other lives. That is my point. Euthanasia is not about killing. Euthanasia is rather about saving. Getting back to the original context of the debate, let me remind my opposition that even in India, passive forms like euthanasia are legalized. Why? Because our doctors and lawmakers completely understand the fact that euthanasia is not about killing someone. It is about showing them the purest forms of love, mercy, support and compassion. Killing a person just like that against their will is nothing short of sadism. It is monstrous to keep a person alive against their will just like that. In the end, I would like to say that right to life is a fundamental right, but that does not mean that to force a person to exist, breathe and survive against their will. Thank you. I rest my case, but not my cause.
Questions, please. We got the yes.
You said that euthanasia is a person's choice and person's body. So the person is in a vegetative state. So being in a vegetative state, how can he take a decision which is good for him?
Look, when we give euthanasia, it is not always important that a person is in a vegetative state. A person can be brain dead, that is a vegetative state. But if a person is paralyzed, he or she can always speak up for themselves. Who is the government to tell the person wants to die or the one doesn't want to die? That completely makes no sense.
Thank you.
Here comes the candidate against this motion.
At the time of euthanasia, when the ventilator was stopped, her soul cried, "Let me be." Good afternoon, one and all present here. Today I, a candidate of Maple House, am going to present my views on the topic, euthanasia, right to live versus right to die. According to the Indian Constitution, Article 21 says that no person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty except according to a law executed by the law. Euthanasia basically just violates this right to the life. In most countries, it is considered murder to kill someone, even if it is done to ease the pain. Euthanasia just takes off the duty of saving. Just imagine for once, you see a doctor. What comes to your mind? A person wearing a white coat who is known to save lives. How can you imagine a person like this to kill somebody? Moreover, it will discourage the discoveries of new cures. If they think that the cure to each and every problem is just taking a life, why will they even bother looking for new cures? I'm sure that you all must know who Stephen Hawking was. When he was diagnosed with ALS at the age of 21, the doctors told him that he only had 2 more years to live. Now, let us assume that euthanasia was legalized at that time. He too could have opted for the so-called dignity, death with dignity, but he didn't have a choice. That is my point. If he had a choice, he could have easily took the euthanasia. But he didn't have one. That is why he decided to make the most of his life, and he lived approximately 50 years more than the doctors expected. Earlier, he was bored with his life, but when he realized that his time was limited, he decided to work more hard and with more determination. The period of a terminal illness is when you come to value the little amount of time you have left. When you find inspiration, you realize that you are important to someone. You realize that you are loved. You work hard. This provides you a reason itself, not just to work hard, but to work with more determination. I would like to end by saying that ending the killing of a disabled person is not compassionate. It is not euthanasia. It is murder. Thank you.
It is now open for rebuttal. Akshay.
So you stated in your speech that doctors help to kill those patients. Okay. But the business of medical science and doctors is just to help the living, not to enter the realm of death. What are your views?
I try to say that the doctors are known to save lives. But if euthanasia is legalized, they just take the way of killing those people. You just can't imagine a person like this who is known to save lives, who is killing somebody else. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have the candidate from Oak House speaking in favor of the motion, it is more important to be happy than to be rich.
So today I'm going to speak in the favor of the motion. Is it more important to be happy than to be rich? Even though we're time and again taught the importance of money in our life and the fact that money brings us happiness, the truth is something just opposite to this. Money certainly is a necessity for us, but this does not bring any kind of happiness with it. With the help of ample money, an individual can achieve his goals, provide his family with a better future, but in reality, merely having enough stuff has hardly given anyone the feeling of content or happiness. We often look up to wealthy people and all we see is ample luxury with which comes ample amount of money to spend. The money definitely aids them leading a luxurious life, but it is never directly proportional to their level of happiness. And this is due to the fact that money only provides materialistic happiness, whereas happiness in its purest forms comes when your mind and your body are in complete harmony with each other. I could give you endless examples of people with a wealthy lifestyle but not a content life. Bill Gates, as we all know, he can buy almost anything with the amount of money he has in his bank account. But do we know that the number of problems he deals with every day are double the time of his total net worth? Money is such a thing that can turn your life into hell in just a second. Like when big business companies drown in loss. And even middle class families go into depression just because of pending loans, unpaid checks, and many more things. At this point, I would like to raise a question. That can money pay the cost of fragile and broken relationships? No, it can never. We all are aware of the fact that many families all over India get into financial wars and end splitting up. Many of the divorces are also caused by financial differences. At this point, I can very, very confidently say that money can never get you happiness, whereas it just steals your happiness away, it destroys your happiness. Money can never be the basis of your happiness because it leads to many miseries like corruption, where wealthy people like ministers keep eating up the money which belongs to the public of a nation in the form of black money. At the end, I would like to conclude that money might be the key to this materialistic world, but it can never be the reason to your, mine, or anyone's eternal happiness, because being rich is just a materialistic thing, whereas being happy is a state of your mind. Thank you.
The floor is now open for rebuttal. Navinur.
If money doesn't matter, then why people struggle 24 hours to earn money?
It's just that we are living in an era where we are fighting and we're running a race, and where we forget that being happy is more important to exceptionally being rich. So I think that is just not a valid point.
Thank you.
Now I would like to call the candidate from Oak House who will be speaking against this motion.
Good afternoon to one and all present here. Today I, a participant from Oak House, will speak against the motion being happy is more important than to be rich. Well, in today's never-ending race called life, if we see what rules everything, we can get a very simple answer: money. As opposing the statement, I can definitely say that when one's family is dying of starvation, he definitely can't be happy. I strongly believe that when one is financially struggling, he can't think of things like happiness or sadness. All that matters is financial security. And once you lose it, you can't be a normal happy person whose needs are met. Besides necessities, we all know that wishes and desires also play a vital role. I don't say that we need a luxurious mansion to live and servants running around doing your work. But yes, everyone has to have a shelter over their head. Well, if farmers hang themselves due to lack of money. They don't have money for food, for water, and how can we forget the pending loans which haunt them day and night? Well, if loans wouldn't have been a factor, government wouldn't have waived them off for many of the farmers. The only magic solution which can heal the misery and despair of the poor is money. Now, if we talk of relationships, believe it or not, in today's world, they only develop on the basis of economic status. Well, my friends can talk of friendship, feelings, and true love. But let me tell you that these things in today's money-minded world are only a part of the fictitious world. In the end, I would like to conclude that if one's necessities are met and that person starts living and not merely surviving, then only his happiness can surface. I thank you all for being patient listeners.
The floor is now open for rebuttal. Rachel?
It's generally seen. It's generally seen that people with more money have more tensions than happiness. What are your views on this?
But so when you don't have money, what can you do of that tension when you see your family dying of starvation? You don't have money for your basic needs. So I don't think that tension is more than that of being hungry.
Thank you.
With this, we now conclude the round for 9th graders. We'll now start off with the 10th graders. The first speaker is coming from Inhouse and will be speaking in favor of the motion, is it more important to be happy than to be rich?
Be happy. Good morning everyone, honorable judges, respected teachers and my dear friends. I, the candidate of Aspen House, is standing in front of this august gathering to speak in the favor of the motion, it is more important to be happy than to be rich. Happiness will never come to those who fail to appreciate what they really have. In today's state, many people are rich and are earning well in the field. But the main thing is that, are they happy? No. It is something said that money is power. It can make everything possible. No doubt, man needs money for basic needs of life, food, clothes and shelter. But after the basic needs are met, man searches for extra comfort. Whereas, happiness means satisfaction and mental peace of mind. Money leads to greediness. Give me more is a never-ending demand. The person who is not so rich by his or her pocket or not earning well, but he or she is happy from what they have and are not regretting about things they don't have are the best. I know happiness doesn't pay bills, but the thing is that I need more will never help you to have a mental peace of mind. So, we should understand the fact that where you go, whatever you have, whatever you do, there you are. The term called satisfaction should be there. Today, people are busy collecting money. They are busy with the schedule and they stop interacting with their families and give less time to them. Money can certainly help you to achieve your goals, help you to have a luxurious life and make your life more enjoyable. But merely having materialistic things doesn't guarantee fulfillment. The truth of life is that when we lower our expectations, our happiness increases. A nice evening spent with the love of your life or a simple chat with your mother will give more happiness than the time you spend in making pink notes. The laugh of the body, the love you feel from your partners and parents, those things are priceless in its true sense. So, earning money is a never-ending rat race. There is no end to this foolish race. The more you earn, the more you want. Whereas peace of mind is like the stable water of a clean lake. All is calm and composed. So don't be a puppet in the net of strings of race.
is now open for rebuttal. Any questions? Ananya?
Ma'am, you stated that satisfaction should be a factor, but if you don't have money,
then how can satisfaction be in your life?
See, in today's state, the population of poor is more than the population of rich. A poor man will be happy from what they have. They will not see that I don't have this or I don't have this. We should be happy and satisfied with what we have. But satisfaction don't comes from the money only. Satisfaction can be there with the help of our relationship. The poor people can't have many relationships, good relationships, but
Thank you.
Now I would like to call the candidate from Inhouse who will be speaking occasionally.
Good afternoon, everyone. I, candidate of Aspen House, strongly oppose this motion that it is important to be happy than to be rich. First of all, it's very important to know the real and exact meaning of happiness. Happiness is that feeling which comes over you when you know your life is good, when your needs are being fulfilled. Now, your question arises is that when are you happy? When are your needs being fulfilled? When you have lots of money? When your pocket is full of pink notes? Just go and ask that people who are sitting on roadside, begging for food, struggling for shelter. Are they really happy? Are they really satisfied? The answer is so simple. No, they are not. When you're financially struggling, you don't worry that whether you're happy or sad, all that matters is a financial security. Best example is our parents. Our parents face all the challenges to provide us with happiness, education, and basic requirements. If money doesn't matter, then why our parents struggle 24 hours just to provide us with those materialistic things which make us happy? Today, students are traveling abroad to earn money. They can simply sit in India and be happy with whatever they have, but they are not. Today's youth prove that if we have to make our present and future bright, if we have to make our present and future shine, then we need to explore different ways by which we can be happy. People primarily feel, believe, and say that our happiness is based on our relationship. But let me correct them. Let me tell you the truth. Our happiness is not based on our relationship status. Our relationship is based on our economic status. So happiness comes from relationship, relationship comes from money. In short, we get happiness because of money. People say that being happy is more important than being rich are actually people who themselves are not economically settled. And they say so just to satisfy their own needs. Yes, just to satisfy their own needs. Not just because they really feel so. And last, I would conclude with the famous saying, you better gain control over your money or lack of it will forever control you. Thank you so much.
Questions for this candidate, please. Alvin.
If a person has lot of money, then it is the human nature that the person will be greedy. Then how can you state that the person will still be happy?
First of all, though, it depends on person to person. Yes, it is human mind that our greed will always be first. But since we need money, we need happiness. I mean, if we have money, then only we will be happy. So, to fulfill that greed, we will earn more money. So,
Thank you. Welcome to the future Vice Principal, Ms. Hina ma'am. So next we have candidates from Cedar House who will be speaking in favor of the motion euthanasia, right to live versus right to die.
No one notices your tears. No one notices your sadness. No one notices your pain, but they all want you to live. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I, candidate of Cedar House, will speak in favor of the motion euthanasia, right to live versus right to die. Well, my first reaction on hearing the topic was utter confusion. Why on the earth are we talking about right to live and right to die in the same breath? I have a question for all of you. Should the right to die in dignity be as sacred as the right to live? Well, a petition admitted by the Supreme Court on behalf of an NGO argues that it should be. It explores the notion of living will. My dear friends, here I would like to quote the example of Terry Schiavo, the most well-known and publicized case of euthanasia in the United States. Schiavo suffered a heart attack, which left her in almost no brain function. She was kept alive with a feeding tube for over a decade. Though Terry could not express her emotions, but her husband could feel the pain, suffering, the affliction which she was suffering. Would you like to see your dearest ones in pain? The simple answer is no. Therefore, her husband started a campaign to allow her to die. On 15th March 2005, her feeding tube was officially and legally removed, which led to her death on 31st of March. Would you like to live in such a situation? Dude, trust me, nobody would ever. Rather, they would have much satisfaction in ending their life. Euthanasia is rooted in autonomy. Human persons are free and autonomous. That is, they may choose a peaceful death rather than bearing the indignity of life, which is no longer worth living. I would also like to lay emphasis on the fact that right to refuse medical treatment is well recognized in the law and gives a way for passive euthanasia, which was legalized by the Supreme Court on 9th March 2018. To conclude with, I would like to state that death is the man's greatest blessing when it cracks on suffering and is stripped of its meaning. Thank you.
The floor is now open for a rebuttal.
Ma'am, you just now said that the people who suffer terminal, they are given euthanasia.
They are given euthanasia. But I want us to say that, in my opinion, the people who undergo euthanasia have a very weak will, and that is why they don't want to live. What are your views on that?
I appreciate your question. See, euthanasia is given in the state that person is terminally ill. So if the person is terminally ill, he is unconscious, his mind is not conscious, he cannot respond to the stimulus. So if the person cannot respond, and now the person cannot do anything further in life because there are no hopes left, so that person is not able to, think, to, reason or to state. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here comes the candidate who will be speaking against this motion.
Good afternoon to one and all present here. Today I, a candidate of Cedar House, will be speaking against the motion of euthanasia, right to live versus right to die. We need to understand that out of 195 countries recognized by the UN, only 6 countries and 6 US states have legalized euthanasia. By definition, euthanasia refers to the practice of giving painless death to patients suffering from an incurable disease or an irreversible coma, or in simpler words, assisted suicide. Moreover, legalized euthanasia gives doctors the most power. A patient's life rests in a doctor's hands. Plus, doctors would soon stop finding cures for diseases which are for now termed as incurable. Because when there is an
easy ticket to less work, why would they bother? When the focus changes from curing the condition to killing the individual with the condition, the whole process is threatened. Attempts of suicide and completed suicide in itself is considered a psychiatric emergency and a desperate call for help. Several guidelines have been formulated for the management of suicidal patients. Suicide is a mental illness. Therefore, euthanasia further only aids to this person's madness. There have been several cases where a person has come out of their vegetative state. So how can you assume that a person is inevitably going to die? And if you were to say that a person is in coma and the consent of providing euthanasia to this patient is taken from a family member, how are we to know that that family member does not have their own multifarious intentions towards this patient, most commonly due to disputes? How can someone else be given the right to take a decision for someone else's life? How can someone else claim to have that right? Now you will say that a family member would do this out of compassion. But that is in an idealistic world, my friend. We have criminal laws not because most of us behave decently. It's because some of us do not. Now I would like to present an example of a noted scientist, Stephen Hawking. When he was diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, the doctor said he only had 2 more years to live. Now supposedly, if at that time euthanasia was legalized, he too would have opted for the so-called death with dignity. But he did not have that option. And that's the thing. Because he did not have that option, he chose to make most of the time he had left and did not give up on his life. As a matter of fact, he himself said that this disease had helped him become a noted scientist. When he realized that his time was limited and he did not have a lot of time to live, he started working harder and with more determination. His will to live made him live approximately 50 years longer than the doctors had predicted. So I would like to end by saying that killing a merciless... Thank you.
The floor is now open for rebuttal. Ayushi.
Ma'am, you said that when a person may come out from a vegetative state, but if we compare the past ratios, it is too less. The probability of coming out person is too less.
Well, but they aren't exactly zero as well. A person, when I actually said that usually people do come out of their vegetative state, so they have their own choice. But when they are in a vegetative state and they are provided with euthanasia, how are we to know that what's going on inside that person's head? How much they are fighting for their life? Because usually every patient is fighting for their life because they want to live. So we cannot just provide euthanasia to a patient even if they are in a vegetative state.
Thank you. Next we have the participant from Inhouse speaking in favor of the motion. Why do Indian students prefer to study abroad, greener pastures or green cards?
Good afternoon to one and all present here. I, a candidate of Maple House, stand before you all to speak in the favor of the motion that yes, Indian students go abroad just because of greener pastures. According to US World University ranking, researchers reveal that India, despite being home to world famous universities, ranks second when it comes to students who leave their home country to go abroad and study. What do you think is the reason for this? The reason for this is very simple. It is mainly because of the huge population of India, which is of about 1.26 billion, and out of which more than 50% of the population is below the age of 25. Also, an international bachelor's degree is conferred to the student who studies abroad, which states that the student has thrived and succeeded in an endeavor outside his comfort zone. Admission to India's top-ranked universities is very competitive, given that lakhs of students pass high schools every year, but the seats available in the highly reputed institutes of India like the IITs, the IIMs is very difficult. A study reveals that on average, a student has less than 50% of a chance to secure admission in a highly reputed IIT. Eventually, the students who cannot secure
admission in the institutes of India choose to further their studies abroad. Also, a number of courses available in India are very few when compared to those available abroad. The Indian institutes mainly focus on STEM courses, which are science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. For example, a student wants to study filmmaking and has very few options to choose from in India and may end up with just a diploma. Whereas, if the same student goes abroad and studies filmmaking, he can study filmmaking in depth. Even though the number of courses is increasing and improving in India, there still seems to be a lack of practical applications and skills in our country. Whereas in abroad, the students learn through practical skills and applications and mainly through class participation, dialogue exchange, case studies and practical off and on experiences. Studying in universities like Harvard, Yale, Stanford gives the student global name recognition, which is very important for the student. And also, I would like to end up by saying that yes, Indian students go abroad because of greener pastures and not for the greed of green card. Thank you.
Questions for this candidate, please. Akshay.
Now you stated in your speech that most of the Indian students go to abroad for courses like filmmaking and animation and VFX. What I would like to say is that our old directors like Rajkumar Hirani and many other great directors are from India. They have studied from India, and now many other directors are coming to India to work with them and to create new movies that can change the thinking of society.
So I would like to answer you that the world's best directors are not from India, and also they study from the British universities. And when you look at the strata of the film industry, the Hollywood industry stands at the top, and the Indian actors or the filmmakers like the Ranveer Kapoor and Priyanka Chopra have also moved from Bollywood industry to Hollywood industry.
Now, I would like to call the candidate from Inhouse who will be speaking against the motion.
Good afternoon, everyone. Governments are formed when some men are trusted with the common good of many people. This is one of the most philosophical definition of a government and what an ideal government should expect it to be. Respected judges and my dear friends, do you think our country India has a governing body which satisfies even 10% of the above words? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the core reason why Indian students prefer not to live in India and go abroad. Good health and good sense are two of life's greatest blessings. These words by pupil Cyrus can make us think the importance of health in one's life. Ladies and gentlemen, medical tourism is a term more common nowadays. Indian cricketer Yuvraj Singh, Raj Kapoor's daughter Ritu Nanda, Sonia Gandhi all went abroad for their treatment. Ladies and gentlemen, these instances ring alarm bells in our minds. Is our country India inept to deal with such life-threatening diseases? Do we lack good doctors or are we short of medical equipment and medicines? Ladies and gentlemen, these questions have just not risen in my mind, but in the minds of thousands of students who have to spend their future in this nation. Honorable judges, according to a note from the US Department of State, US citizens, particularly women, are cautioned not to travel alone in India. This official note by the government of United States can make us think how much safe our country India is. We are independent from the colonial rule from last 72 years. But the people of India are still not free to walk on a road in the capital city of the country. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a great disgrace on our side. Indian education. We all talk about this. Ladies and gentlemen, as my companion discussed that foreign education is much better than Indian education, I want to tell her that India is one of the educational hubs of the world. Sundar Pichai, Satya Nadella, who are the chief executive officers of the prestigious companies in United States, are Indians and they have completed their basic education from India. Ladies and gentlemen, My companion was just talking about education. I want to ask her that education is not the only aspect why Indian students go abroad. There are other aspects too, which I just discussed above. Ladies and gentlemen, finally I want to end by saying that the main reason for going abroad is not greener pastures, it is green card. People want a green card and want to settle there. Thank you.
Questions for this candidate, please? Next, we have the candidate from Inhouse speaking in favor of the motion euthanasia, right to live versus right to die.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I, candidate of Oak House, is standing before you to present my views in favor of the topic euthanasia, right to live versus right to die. Mercy killing. Yes, euthanasia is known as mercy killing, or the killing of a patient suffering from an incurable disease. Death. Death is inevitable. No one can surpass his or her death by a second or overcome it a second before. Yes, death is inevitable. Now imagine today you go home and you fall ill, and the next day your doctor comes and says you are just left with a month because you are suffering from an incurable disease and you will die. Wouldn't you make a list of things that you want to do before you die? Yes, you will make.
Yeah.
Doctors always help those patients who are undergoing euthanasia through sarcastic ways or not. Many people misunderstand this term. They always think that doctors help to kill those patients who are undergoing euthanasia. But no. Doctors are actually helping them. The business of doctors and medical sciences is just to help those patients, not to enter the realm of death. And if the living states that he or she wants an end, the doctor will help them. Many countries are accepting euthanasia. Yes, and some countries are accepting passive euthanasia. India accepted passive euthanasia in 2018. Now, I want to share with you some examples of euthanasia. Brittany Maynard was just 29 years old when she came to know that she was suffering from incurable disease, a malignant brain tumor that would kill her in the next 6 months. But she never launched her death. She never went through those radiation operations. She never went through the treatment of medicines. She collected all the money she had. She was funded with different organizations. She traveled to the whole world that she wanted to travel when she was alive. And finally, on November 1, in front of her relatives, she ended. She said goodbye to this world. Now you won't believe that an Indian, Vinayak Damodar Savarkar, an Indian activist, politician, also accepted euthanasia. On February 1, he rejected all those medicines and the life supporting system that was keeping him alive. And finally, on 26th of February, he too said goodbye to this world. In the end, I would just like to conclude my speech that Lord Krishna also said that your end is in your hands. We are traveling on a rock of which is 100 billion traveling in this universe. Our species is one of 4,000 that is there. And the chances of being born is 1.5 billion that existed. And now it's in our hand how we end our journey. We do not want excruciating death. We just want an end our way, our life. Thank you.
The floor is now open for rebuttal. You have 30 seconds.
There are many diseases. So if all the people started legalizing euthanasia, then the death rates would be so high and the population will decrease. So what would you say?
Thank you, ma'am, for your question. But I would like to tell, first of all, this question is an assumption. All the countries have do not accepted euthanasia till now. Every country has different situations. Like for example, if we take two countries, country A and country B. Yes, your opinion can be right in country A, but in my opinion, country B can also be there in which euthanasia is perfectly used. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here comes the candidate who will be speaking again.
Good afternoon to one and all present here. Today, I, a candidate from Oak House, stand before this august gathering to strongly put forward my point that euthanasia is a wrong practice. Euthanasia is the termination of a very sick person's life in order to relieve them from their sufferings. Usually, a person who undergoes euthanasia has an incurable disease. Well, there are other instances as well where people want their lives to be ended. I personally feel that the practice of euthanasia is not a right one. Euthanasia is not about how. Euthanasia is the right to help people kill themselves. Euthanasia is not relieving sufferings of the patients. Euthanasia is giving the legal power to another person to end another's life. Well, how can this be right? George Peter said that any change in the law would have adverse effects on the social fabric of our society and how we look to each other's death. What about compassion? Well, the most compassionate thing to do is to care for the person till the end of his or her life, regardless of age and ability. Isn't that? Palliative care services are the services of healthcare which focus on relieving the sufferings of patients. But surprisingly, only Britain in the world has palliative care services. Now, we should see that who all people are vulnerable. The vulnerable people are elderly, sick, depressed, or the people who are in permanent vegetative states. Changing the law to allow euthanasia will inevitably put pressure on those who are the fear of being emotionally or financially burdened upon others. Some might face the risk of coercion by others who might stand gain from their death. Now, we should see that not all people want their lives to be ended. Well, there are cases where people are sick and want their lives to be ended, but we should not lose sight of millions of those who are happy and despite being rich, despite being ill and have found riches and purpose in life, despite of pain and hardship. The British Medical Journal 2011 states that majority of patients who are paralyzed but still fully conscious stated that they are happy and don't want to die. My dear opponent here stated that euthanasia relieves people from sufferings. Let me tell you, my dear friend, euthanasia does not relieve sufferings. Sufferings are part of normal human life, and God is very calculated when He says suffering, depression in one's life. Now, all human life has profound value, and to end my speech, I would like to say a quote by Jean Austen that, for my part, I believe that there is no life so degraded, debased or deteriorated that isn't worth defending with zeal and conviction. Thank you.
Questions for this candidate, please? Arlene.
If a person in 20 years of coma, then it is right to be euthanized. So you mean to say that despite of 20 years of his coma, then he will lose his hope or he will stay alive? Please.
That depends on the will of the person, ma'am. If the person is strong-willed, he will live. And that is where euthanasia is not actually right. That is what my opinion about that question is.
Thank you. With this, we have now reached the most awaited moment of this competition, the prize distribution ceremony. Till the time the results are being compiled, I would like to hand over the mic to Gurmeet.
Thank you, Akshita. Children, the show is not going to end today. This is the stage we have set. We have had our own children here, and we're going to use the same spot for inter-school debate competition for tomorrow. So I would like to tell you that our own school being host, we will have 2 candidates participating. So I thought like this is the right opportunity to give them one rehearsal, one platform to judge themselves, to explore themselves and to gain their confidence and get more ideas from the respected audience. I would really like everybody, listening to each and every candidate with all your concentration. That was something which makes us feel very good and very positive that yes, children are mature. So now I will take this opportunity to call our candidate to speak in favor of the motion for tomorrow's competition, and that's Adisha.
I stand here to present my views in favor of the motion why Indian students prefer to study abroad, greener pasture or green cow. I strongly believe that a brighter future starts with a good education. Not only me, but the 8 lakh students of India studying abroad also believe so. According to BBC, USA is the most prominent and unparalleled nation in the terms of education. Such is USA's reputation, not India's. India ranks 92nd in the terms of education. That is my point. It is completely legitimate and justifiable act of choosing to study in UK, USA, Switzerland, Belgium, and many such countries that top the yearly education chart. India has not yet been able to internationalize education in order to provide an apprentice with the exposure to the world. And this may sound trivial, but it's actually a vital and indispensable characteristic in order to bag a secure and reputed designation. After getting education comes the dreaded task of getting a placement in a job according to our wish. You need to understand that unemployment rates in India are piteously high, and these rates are forcing Indian students to migrate abroad. I totally agree with the statement that the grass is greener on the other side, for only elite students somehow manage to get a desired job in India. But the truth is that the youth in India is not full of toppers and achievers. So this average youth has to look for other options as well. If not India, then super nations or educational-wise powerful nations. Hence, I would like to conclude that Indian students are willing to work in India, but India itself does not support these students. I would like to add a point that today we all know entrepreneurs are taking over the world. There are 27 million entrepreneurs in America, but only 200,000 in India? Why is it so? The very educational system in India is faulty. Lectures, parents, teachers, all are focused on marks, and logic is an unknown entity for the students of India. Hence, in the end, I would like to conclude that it is far-fetched to point a finger at students going to abroad for studying due to reasons as highly impossible as attaining a green card. Thank you.
Anybody who want to have the opportunity to rebut her? Yes. I think we can open this for the audience as well. Anybody who wants to put a question to her? Okay, even the teachers can try. Because this is only confidence building session. This is not a part of the competition. So everybody, whosoever wants to contribute, because we are the host, so we definitely want to be.
Okay, you are saying that Indian system is faulty, that is why children are going abroad to study. If my data is going correct, whole of Punjab is moving nowadays. This is the latest thing that has come up. I think you must be reading in the newspaper also. So, is this the reason that they are going all abroad because they are not happy with the education system in India?
And even the economical system is not supporting the students of India. The basic education in Punjab is faulty. You can see in the government schools, the teachers cannot even tell the correct spellings of week of the days. The basic of education in Canada is so strong. So hence it is justifiable for them to move.
Thank you.
To speak against the motion.
Hello. Good afternoon to one and all present here. Why do Indian students prefer to study abroad? Is it due to greener pastures or green card? Is the topic that I will be speaking on today. I firmly believe that seeking education in foreign nations is just a way to ultimately obtain a green card, and that the sole reason behind this is the fact that the grass appears to be greener on the other side. Students often back up their decision to study abroad by saying that the level of education in India is not at par with the world, and that in order to become global citizens, studying abroad is what necessary. I strongly disagree. Isn't Sundar Pichai a global citizen? Isn't Satya Nadella a prominent figure? What about Indira Nooyi? I think you all know what I'm talking about. These people who are now the heads of multinational companies like Google, Microsoft and PepsiCo are Indians who obtained their undergrads and grads from universities based in India. India is a country that provides a good quality of education at a cheap price, with universities like the Indian Institute of Science ranking among the top 100 universities of the world, and 7 different IIT campuses ranking between 126 and 300, one cannot say that the level of education in India is below par. If the matter were so, then how come American-based multinational companies prefer to make products of this education system the heads of their firms, rather than their own so-called practical citizens? The expenditure for receiving education in the elite universities of countries like US is an expensive task, with the total expenditure amounting up to around 1 crore. Whereas the same cost of studying in elite universities of India is just around 1/5 of the aforementioned amount. Moreover, foreign companies have now started to approach Indian universities and campuses, and the quality of placements for Indian students has also improved. To put things in perspective, Management Development Institute of Gurgaon this year reported international salary packages of rupees 55 lakh per annum. Indian Institute of Foreign Trade candidate was hired for rupees 1 crore per annum. Indian Institute of Science Indore reported international offer packages of rupees 63 lakh per annum. When placements at similar levels with similar salaries are made available to Indian students as well, and that too at a far affordable price. But when even then Indian students prefer to study abroad, then what comes to mind is that the reason for studying abroad isn't greener pastures at all, but rather something entirely different. It is interesting to note that Canada has suddenly become the second most sought country by Indian students. Reports indicate that this rapid increase is in correspondence to the country's citizenship rights, change in the country's citizenship rights back in 2014. The change made students able to apply for green card immediately after completing their courses. In a couple of years' time, Mr. Donald Trump became the US president and made the visa regulations and permanent residency process stiff. Subsequently, there was a decline of 30% in the number of applications by Indian students. And I'd like to conclude by stating that it is high time we recognize the fact that somewhere down the line, somewhere behind all those fake facades, the main reason for students to study abroad is not greener pastures, but rather green card. Thank you.
Let's rebut. Put a question to Triple. Or we all feel satisfied and agree to the concepts and the ideas he's sharing. Yes.
Okay, you are saying that education system is very good in India. Are we not able to build character of our students that they should be loyal to the country? Why they want to settle abroad if our education system is that good? I think this is part of education, that we need to create that patriotism among our students. So my question is that.
So basically your question is that why is not our Indian system able to make the students loyal to the country? Ma'am, I think the main reason for this is that the education system is not to be blamed. It's just that once the students reach that stage of maturity, when they're able to see the future, they recognize that somewhere there might be a chance that the country might not progress,
might be due to the political circumstances of the country, the instability, or due to the coming generations. So they think that it would be better. And there are some particular cults in the country that feel that their future in this country is vulnerable. They are vulnerable in the country. So they think that going abroad will make their life easier. And that too not from a perspective of education. It's just that from that age when students are eligible to get higher education, they start realizing this fact. And that keeping in mind the distant future, they think that now is the time that we can easily go and settle abroad and we'll be able to escape the atmosphere of this country. So according to that, that's my opinion.
Once again, I hand over the mic to Trupal and Akshita to carry forward today's program.
Till the time the results are being compiled, I would like to request our Vice Principal, Senior Vice Principal, Mr. Anand Sona, to come up on the stage and say a few words. So, I would like to request our Junior Vice Principal, Ms. Tina Singh, to come up on the stage and say a few words.
I didn't have the opportunity to sit through everyone's debate here, but whatever I've heard in the last maybe 15-20 minutes was really surprising, and I'm amazed at your conviction of your topic and with the reasoning. I was in a little doubt whether did you know those questions, rebuttal questions? No, not the ones who asked, the ones who answered. Yeah? No, the ones who are shaking their heads were not the ones who were speaking. Last few candidates, the ones who spoke on the last two topics, which were about greener pastures and about life and death. Harshit? Rishit, sorry. Yeah. Did you know the rebuttal question?
No, it was on the spot only.
Then I'm truly amazed, not just with you but the others as well. Well, that's commendable. Just give it to them. Amazing. Very amazing. I'm very happy to see you people come up with so much of confidence and conviction about your topic. Also, I'd like to just say a little thing about tomorrow. All of you all sounded very agitated. Sounded very aggressive. You have a point. You can put it across in a lighter manner as well. So don't be too agitated when you are in a debate. It's only when you are being cross-questioned can you be like that. So when you're talking about your point, talk with a lot of conviction, talk with a lot of confidence, clarity in your thought process, so that when you are asked a rebuttal question, you know exactly what is to be said. So do not be too aggressive tomorrow, be yourself. You all are great, you all did a wonderful job today, and I'm sure better, even much better tomorrow. All the very best for tomorrow as well. Thank you.
All right, children. We are eagerly waiting for the results. So, I have the results in my hand. We start from the third position. Agreed? So, first of all, the individual prizes. So, the third position from class 9 candidate goes to Sukhmani. It's a tie. Sukhmani and Harleen. Be on the stage, children, right in front. And the third position for class, I'm going simultaneously. So class 10 also the third position first. Alright. Again, tie. So the last position has got more weight. The tie is between Pari and Ayushi. Second position for class 9. No guesses, no? Inhouse. And for class 10, second position goes to Asmi. Now the first position for class 9, no guesses. Jagmeet. Do we have a guess for class 10? Sorry. Just Sanjay. These are the individual positions. And now we are going to announce the best team. The best team from class 9 is Maple House. So I would like to class 10, the best team prize goes to Cedar House. Absolutely great. So this was the show. This is what we could do in a quick, short time. And I would now like Raina ma'am to speak a few words. In front of the
Good afternoon, everybody. What a lovely performance. Once again, I happen to be judge on all the events, it seems. You people have taught me Punjabi, you people have taught me Hindi also in the morning. And now, what a beautiful thing that English, again, debate. There is a book, Argumentative Indian. I was just struggling with the name of the author, if somebody can help me. Argumentative Indian is a book, that famous book I have already read it. So I was just trying to see that argumentative people of this country, argumentative generation, people of your age, students of your age are not satisfied unless and until we give you some logic. But when you are given a particular topic, things are not easy. It is not easy like to give your opinion about that. So this is something that we need to learn. If you want to be a good speaker, you should have, first of all, knowledge about the topic, and after that, you should have that conviction in you, as ma'am was saying, that you have to say it with conviction. Once again, we need not to be agitated in our life also. When we speak, that time everybody has to follow that we have to be very polite, and this is the same thing that we have to observe when we are speaking on stage, whether it is a debate or it is a declamation contest or whatever, we have to be we have to be patient when we are talking. This is one thing. Congratulations to the English department, Gurmeet ma'am and her team. Well done job. A big round of applause. I would like to take help from Gurmeet ma'am here. I think at the end of every debate, we have to have a consensus. Like we have to decide like whether children are going against or in favor of the motion. So let's do it. So first topic, what was that? We'll ask, we will take, you have to simply raise your hands. Let us check. You come here and help me. So this is the way debate has to end. I hope everybody has seen it in the parliament also. Like every time, some people are against, some people are in favor. At the end, we have to end with a judgment. Okay, let us see that how many of you are in favor of a particular topic, how many of you are against. Okay, so what was the first one?
The first topic was euthanasia, right to live versus right to die.
Right to live. Okay, you think that? Ask them.
Those in favor, please raise your hands. those who believe that euthanasia should not be legalized. So the consensus is that almost everyone believes that euthanasia should not be legalized.
Good. Good job.
The second topic, why do Indian students prefer to study abroad? Is it due to greener pastures or green cards? Those in favor, they're supporting that Indian students prefer to study abroad due to greener pastures. Please raise your hands. Thank you. And those against? We have clear majority here.
So everybody is going for green card. Okay, great. Okay. Now again, one more question. How many of you are planning to go abroad after class 10? Thankfully, no teachers have raised their hands. Please, I'm not saying. How many of you want to go abroad after class 10? No, not after 12. Sorry, after 12. This is something that I want to bring to your notice. Once again, grass is not greener on the other side. Okay? It's not that easy to settle abroad. Just start searching for it. If they are giving you good packages, whatever crores of rupees, whatever I keep reading in the newspaper, but always remember that standard of living is also very, very expensive. The same standard of living that you are maintaining in few of rupees here, the same standard of living you would be able to maintain by earning crores of rupees. That is all. Okay?
The third topic was it is more important to be happy than to be rich. So those in favor of importance of happiness in life, please raise your hands. And those in favor of the importance of money in life.
Everybody is for happiness, so I change the question now. How many of you want that money with happiness? Everybody? Happiness with money? Okay, that is there. Okay. So, how many of you feel that money brings happiness? Nobody? Okay, that's very nice. I want to give credit to all the teachers that we are actually having good values among our students, that they all feel that money is not that important, but definitely happiness is. So that is why we are trying to create happy, smart workers school. Okay, congratulations.